Tahoro minasan, this is Yuki, your realist semi-direction view elf, and today I'm going to talk to you about new seasonal anime for autumn 2024. And this video is going to focus on shonen, sci-fi, fantasy, slice of life anime for this season that I think are really good and you shouldn't miss on them. The first one and the most famous one that is being so widely spoken about right now is called Dandadan. And I remember I bought the first volume of the manga a year ago. I got already my shock and then I'm okay and I enjoyed it. So I was so much looking forward to watching the anime when it was announced, and I didn't read anything besides volume 1, but I'm still really curious. So the plot of Dandadan is very simple. What if an extroverted gyaru girl who believes in ghosts and spirits, an introvert boy who believes in aliens, make a bet to prove each other belief wrong? So they send each other to potential UFO sighting abandoned building and a cursed tunnel just to make each other regret their claims. But they end up proving each other right, like each other delusions are completely right. There are ghosts and spirits and UFO and everything. And create a dangerous codependency situations where in order to survive, they have to be around each other all the time. And again, of course, the story doesn't end up with the fact that they got cursed or they're being pursued by really evil spirits or by some crazy weird aliens, but it gets more and more complicated each single chapter and episode. So I hope that you try it. Let me know what you thought about the opening, which is made by Creepy Nuts. Again, the same one as Mashal that got popular Ring Bam Bam. And this one is Otonoke. And surprisingly, there are a lot of videos about Otonoke that explain how the lyrics of the song have very much a lot of references to Japanese mythology and also Japanese urban horror stories and stuff like that. So if you are curious about it, please Google it and you'll be really amazed by how clever the wording was in this song. Well, I think most of you already know Aono Exorcisto or Blue Exorcist. It's quite old shonen anime that was released in back 2012 or something, and I already spoke about it in one of my videos called Yokai Recommendation Anime or something like that. So actually, No Exorcist is coming back with a 4th season. They wouldn't really call it the 4th season because it would be like part 2 of season 3 something or part 3 of season 2 or something like that. It's kind of complicated, but it's basically a 4th season. And just to give you a brief explanation about the different seasons of Blue Exorcist. So I don't think I need to introduce to you again Yukio and Rin Okumura because you have an idea already about the twins, who one of them is clearly a demon who decided to join exorcist school after the death of their adoptive father who is a priest. And both of them turn out to be the children of Satan, but especially Rin Okumura is the one who displayed like demon characteristics compared to Yukio, who didn't show anything yet. Anyway, so season 1 was about Rin integration in the exorcist school and how he was hated by the exorcist, always suspected he could hardly make any kind of friendship or connections. And then season 2 is a bit about Yukio dilemma and most of it about the 3 guys from the shrine. There are 3 guys who are from the shrine and each one of them have slightly different personality, and it's kind of their connection also to the villain in that season anyway too. And then we have season 3, which was about the Illuminati arc and Izumo. Izumo is the kind of tsundere strict girl who doesn't like to mingle with others, but then there was this whole arc about her and her family situations and why she became an exorcist and everything relevant to that. And finally we come to season 4, where I think the main focus is going to be this time again Yukio, because Yukio issue has never been solved. No need to spoil you further, but as you might have guessed already, by the end of season 2 he has actually demonic power which gets displayed in his eyes in very particular situations, and he doesn't understand how to control it. At the same time he doesn't want to expose himself, so we're gonna see more. And he's kind of being a bit like a little shit because he refused to be open about it with his brother, and he doesn't want to look weak, he doesn't want to depend on others. So we'll see what happens in season 4. If you have been following me for a while right now and checking all my new and especially old videos, you realize how much I'm obsessed with gender bender anime, gender bender characters, manga, manhwa, whatever you want to call it. And in one of my videos, again, I mentioned it that the main reason might have been Ranma half. Ranma demi, I don't know how to say it in English anyway. So apparently Ranma half is getting a remake, like 2024 version, I don't know why. I think that the creator just felt like, why not make a more cutesy animation for it and rebrand it again and sell it again, because we know that older fans would be just watching it again. So that's what they did. That's literally just what they did. So Ranma Half 2024 version has, of course, my lovely gender bender MC Ranma, and this is a remake with slightly minor changes or different animation in certain scenes, not like really major story plot changes or anything like that. The coloring style is certainly different, and I would recommend for you also to hear the opening in the Arabic version, like the Arabic dub, because I find it much more funnier rather than the old Japanese opening or the new Japanese opening, which I listened to them both, I compared them in my head, but each time I'm like, nah, the Arabic dub is much better. So I hope that you enjoy both, and let me know what you think about this anime, because I would be curious to hear other people's opinion beside mine on this particular animation. There is this new anime called Negative Positive Angler, and it was never ever on my list. I never planned to watch it. I didn't know about it coming out or anything. I just saw the poster and I'm like, let's try it. It looks like a cool, simple slice of life anime, a bit like March Comes in Like a Lion or something like this. But I never expected myself to get into an anime about fishing, and even less how the main guy actually got himself involved with the unusual fishing enthusiasts group. Personally speaking, I feel like the anime is more on the psychological side, in addition to being informative about fishing as a hobby and why people would get into fishing and what kind of meanings it brings into their lives. So the thing I really appreciate about Positive Negative Angler is, as I said earlier, like the diversity in terms of race, of body shapes, of skin color, of age, and genders in the group, which should be actually called the next step in anime. Like, that should be more common nowadays. However, as we all know, Japan is sort of a bit lacking on that side. So it's good to support such anime, to show the producers that people are really ready to consume and to buy mangas and to just go full out blowing support for anime that promote diversity and inclusions, either in Japan or even outside. Well, if you have ever watched any Korean manhwas or webtoons made into anime, I think I should expect you that you know already Tower of God. And I spoke about Tower of God previously in one of my videos regarding Korean anime that are so good, like even better than JJK sometimes. So you may want to check that in case you didn't know about it. And now what is out is its season 2, or more like it's part 2 of its season 2. And it's introducing a completely different arc. Please check out the summary and also let me know what you personally think about the plot and also the protagonist of Tower of God, whenever you want. The new season is called Tower of God Season 2 Workshop Battle. So if you find writing in front of it, Workshop Battles, that's the right one. Well, in case you are a bit not updated, so it might be good to go back a bit behind and watch it and enjoy the really spectacular openings that are often performed by really famous K-pop artists. If you love detective anime and also crime, mystery, like things that are filled with a lot of riddles and like it always blows your mind with the new things happening, then I would recommend again Kamonohashi Forbidden Deductions. And this one is the season 2 of this anime. And I know a lot of people will go on like, this is a shonen ai, whatever. It might have a shonen ai element in it. I'm not gonna deny it, but it's not the main concern. Personally, I would consider it more like genuine friendship. So anyway, I'm not gonna tell you over again the summary of Kamonohashi Forbidden Deductions, because I already spoke about it in one of my videos, which is called Resolving Committing Crime Recommendations. And it's like, just to summarize a bit, what makes season 2 different from season 1 is the fact that it's building up the revelations about Ron Kamonohashi's victim suicide-inducing disease. The House of M sends Winter Moriarty to further confuse and throw Ron in despair labyrinth. But isn't Toto still around? So, I don't know how, but I feel like just the fact that Toto is around Ron is gonna mess up the plans of House of M. And I'm looking forward to seeing how far they're gonna go into stirring up Kamonohashi himself. In relation to this next anime I'm going to talk about, I feel like I have to point out that I feel like isekai authors have figured out the right formula to attracting like really large audience to their chitty shows. And I'm not gonna call every single isekai out there chitty, but I'm just saying that like as long as you have a really cute, handsome male lead, you have a batch of girls already in the bag. You have us all giving out our attention and time and brains for this particular story that is technically not any special from hundreds, thousands of other isekai mangas and anime that have been produced in the same year. But because the main lead is weird drawing, and because he's evil, and because he's a talker, then I'm in. You have me in. Like, there is no discussion about that. And that's what brings me to this season new recommendation called The Most Notorious Stalker Runs the World's Greatest Clan. So, aside from the fact that our MC is super cute and I'm loving him, and aside from the fact that I was almost about to stop watching this anime since like the first 10 minutes because I was so bored. But what attracted me to it, what really made me think maybe I should give it a chance, is the first fight. The first like personal relationship fight that he had with a random guy in a bar. And he's the type who actually excels at getting on people's nerves. That's literally his talent. Like, his skill is not stabbing people or jumping or using magic. His skill is getting on people's nerves or buffing them with just words. It's like a Naruto, but more like a hyper strong Naruto version with just words. I mean, of course, he trains a lot. Like, he tries to protect himself, cannot rely on others indefinitely. But, again, his strongest skill is just talking. It's just talking, and his talking becomes like magic. And that's what buff his allies. And he also has some really evil special skill where he can force people to tell him a certain truth, to answer questions truthfully, even if they don't want to. Well, sort of like, you know, those kind of brain machines where they detect lies or something like this. So, the first episode, you will not be sure whether you like it or not, but second episode you will definitely do. Because it's one of the stories where the MC goes in, he has a guild, he has a party, they are all loving and happy. And then what happens is that two members of his party sort of embezzle the money and the wisdom on... That's a spoiler. Anyway, so they waste the money, and then what he does, he gives them one of the worst, harshest punishment you can ever give to somebody. Especially somebody whom you used to know, whom you used to be friends with to a certain extent. But I love that. Honestly, I felt like they deserved it. I didn't feel sorry for them, let's be honest. I felt relieved when he did that. So, another anime I was not expecting myself to try this season is called Let This Grieving Soul Rest, or something like this. I think it's not the poster, it's more like the name what attracted me to it. I was like, yeah, let's give it a chance. What is this really actually about? And it's actually one of those adventure anime happening in the medieval ages, whatever you call it. As you might have imagined, there is magic, there are monsters, there are guilds, fights. Slightly similar setting to the Most Notorious Stalker. And it's a story about a guy who reached the top by absolute luck. Like, and also the support and the cheering of people around him. Like, he often sends his guildmates on really dangerous missions that offer little rewards, and people around him interpret and overanalyze his actions as self-development goals for his guild and adventurous society as a whole. Which doesn't match at all what he's really thinking, but that's how people understood him, and that's how he has rose to the top without ever really thinking about it. So, I think this anime is mainly comedy. It's really funny. I'm really looking forward to how many other misunderstood he's gonna get into, despite being the laziest, less skilled, not smart at all decisions he's making. So please try it, and again, let me know what you thought about it. Like, if maybe you have read the manga, maybe you can tell me more about it than I ever know. I would like to recommend to you today that I think has been on my mind since the day I tried the first episodes. It is called Touhai Urarate Mahjong Touhai Roku. So, when I saw the word Mahjong, I was really curious. I was thinking I have never ever watched in my life a show about Mahjong. This is gonna be super interesting, and so that's why I started it. But what I didn't expect is how the story itself is gonna turn around like. So imagine you are a super introvert individual moving out from the countryside to the capital in your city, and you don't have any friends. You only play some online game, which happens to be Mahjong. You play against some random people, you don't see their faces, you don't know their real identity, and someday one of those online people are like, okay, do you want to meet in person? Do you want to play Mahjong at my house or something like that? So you go ahead with it, but at the same time you are not exactly not a smart person. You just prepare for the worst. Like, because Mahjong is essentially about gambling, you put in a sum of money, so you think like, if this person turned out to be dangerous, what's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen, according to the main character, was to get beaten, get all his monthly allowance taken out, and be like bleeding in some alley or some street. And some strangers would pick him up, maybe they would send him to hospital, and a classmate will he called in advance a classmate to check on him the next day in the morning, whether he got beaten up or not beaten up in his room, and that would be like his best safety measure because absolutely cannot call his family or anybody else. And he went ahead with it. Like, he met this person, they turned out to be a college student, they are much, kind of older than him, and he went to this apartment to discover that in this apartment, it was the worst ever situation. Like, he couldn't even imagine things to turn out that way. There were, illegal use of drugs, sex workers, there were Hong Kong mafia. It was absolute mess, and he cannot get out of it, because if he loses, it's not like he can pay them back with money, because he don't have enough money anyway when he came in. He's gonna become a human trafficker or sex worker or something like that. So that's absolutely terrible. And he was using maybe 1000% of his brain to win the game. And they realized it at some point that he was really smart in the game, that it's not gonna work if they're gonna play by the rules. So they started using some psychological tactics in order to confuse him, like speaking in Hong Kong dialects or speaking Chinese, whatever it is that they were doing. And he was thinking that all the players in the table were cooperating against him. So that confused him even more, because it's all about kind of reading how the player's behaving. It's a bit like chess, if you think about it, or this kind of board games. So I don't know how he's gonna survive that. I have absolutely no idea, because at first they show you him very cool, wearing a suit, winning a game easily against some old man, which is the version of him 6 years later. So at the point where the accident happened, it was 6 years ago. So what happened to him from then till the time when he's winning with ease and he has a nickname and he's cool guy, I don't know what happened between that. So I'm looking forward to the next episodes, and this is definitely not a family-friendly or kids show at all. So thank you everyone for following this video, and please look forward to autumn 2024 shoujo anime recommendations, and have a nice day. Bye bye.